Hello. Today we are going to study one very important concept of object-oriented programming, that is nothing but encapsulation. So, this concept is used in banking sectors. So, understood properly, why it is used, what is the use of this, and how to achieve programmatically. The name suggests the encapsulations. Okay, what it's saying, the encapsulations. So, terms if you heard the encapsulation, encapsulation. Okay. In word itself, there is suggesting a capsule. Okay. There is a reason why the name is given as an encapsulations. First of all, I will show you the diagrams of encapsulation. So just try to connect that encapsulations. Sorry, it's encapsulation. Yes. If you see the image, so what image it's showing? There is a capsule image it's showing, right? So why they are every time try to show the capsule image? They are trying to explain the capsule. Why? Because if you have ever seen the capsule, so in that capsule there are small dots are available, the dotted. Okay, so that means they're trying to say that dotteds are very secured and very that is critical things. If you want to take a benefit of that dots medicines, so for that we have to take the entire capsule so that directly, indirectly, that all benefit you will get. But if you try to break that capsule and try to eat that dotted medicines, so it will be a very it's not good for, like, you cannot directly eat that because it's damn dangerous, or maybe it is not like in bitter taste and all that things. So they are meaning that in terms of programming, they are trying us. So in class, whenever we are defining variables, okay, so what that they are trying to say, suppose we have a class as a bank. In the bank, suppose you have some variables, integer balance equal to some things, anything. So now this is a variable. It is a bank, but it is okay. No worries. A bank, whatever. So this class variable, any class in main class, if you try to access that variable, we can easily access that variables, right? Because it is kind of a data, and the data is accessible directly everywhere in a main class, all that is. But if you actually seen that the bank data, it should not be get access with any other classes, right? So the encapsulation says that you can call the data, but not directly. If you want to call that data, you can call with the help of public functions. Okay. I'll see it programmatically you'll understood so that you can connect that well. Okay, what I'm trying to say. So let's take one example and we'll understood it practically in trying to connect that what exactly the problem with a simple data and a simple class. And with the help of encapsulation concepts, we can achieve the things of security related. So in general, the definition of encapsulation is wrapping data and function into a single units. Wrapping data and function into single units. In the same way, the capsule does it, wrapping that small dotted into a single capsule. In terms of programming, we need the similar concept. Why we need that? First of all, we'll check that. So I'll go in our projects. In Oops package, I will right click. I will create one simple class, the name as a bank. Okay, so assume that it is simple class and one class have some variables. So let's me create here integer balance. So it may be have some balance. Is it okay now? We have a simple class which have one variable as a balance. Perfect. So let me take one more main class. For example, I'll take it as an SBI as a main class. This already exists. I think we have explained, we have done this encapsulation concept. Okay, no worries. Fine. Okay. So we have one class which has one balance, and I will create one main class name as anything, suppose RBI main class. Now, by creating the object of bank, I can easily access that variables. Bank be equal to new bank, BANK. Okay. So if you try to access that balance, you can easily access that. So B dot the balance, right? If I run this program, so I'll able to access that balance. But this variable or this balance is accessed by all the users, means anybody can access it. Anyone can access. If you know the variable names, you can able to access it. But it should not be happen, no. If there is a data and it is a secured one, it should be accessible to only that particular users who is having an account or who is an authorized user. But in general, by keeping a simple variables, it should be get accessible by everyone. Anyone can access. So then how to protect that data? By protecting that data, we need to use one access modifier known as in private. If you make that variable as a private, so that no one can access that variables, right? So in this way, we can protect that data by accessing outside. Up to this understood? Okay. But this is also the one kind of problems. First problem is that it is a publicly available so that anyone can access it. Now to make the protection, we added a private symbol so that it will become a private and it is not accessible. But the problem is it is not accessible for those who is having a valid account. This is also the problems. So to solve that problems, the encapsulation comes into the picture. Encapsulation says that you can't call the variable outside of the functions, outside of the class. Means so you can consider that dot are the nothing but our data. This is protected data. It is not accessible directly outside. But if you want to take that data so that you can wrap that data into what public function, it is not accessible outside of the class, but it is accessible within that class. No? So now this is becoming a capsule like a load, and it is this dotted one, and this function is nothing but a class variables and the methods. Within the class, private data we are wrapping into a public functions. We can't call the private data outside directly, but we can call the public functions, right? So private data is not accessible, but if you wrap that private data into a public function, so that we can call that public functions like this. Now, if I run these programs, I will get the balance. Correct? Kidding? But still, there is a problem if you see that if someone knows the variable name, he can access. But if someone know the function name, then also the value is accessible. But there is a twist. We don't have a control on a data. Either we keep the public or make it as a private, right? Huh. But in terms of functions, we can do anything because we can line any number of code here. We can add any logic. We can add any kind of protections. So think what we'll do. So we'll make it as in one. Can say that parameterized functions. So while viewing balance, we will accept a pin number from user, right? So that only those user will know the pin who have a valid account. So after accepting a pin from user, we'll compare that pin, assume that the pin is 123, right? Yes. Now anyone can want to call that function, he need to enter the pin number. So let me take one input variable and scanner is equal to new scanner system.in system.in semicolon. I will import this and I'll ask for enter pin number, enter a pin to view val. So now user will enter the pin. Let me take that one empty variable p is equal to sc dot which function next in, and I can add the pin here. So now in case will what happen if I run these programs, it will ask the enter the pin number. You want to enter like view the balance. Suppose I'm entering the wrong pin numbers. Okay, we are not written the else part, so we need to write the else part as well. If the password is wrong, then we can give the message invalid user, invalid user. So let's run these programs once again. If I right click it, enter pin numbers. There's a wrong pin numbers. It is invalid users. So now, though it isn't available, but only those user can access the balance who have a valid PIN numbers. So suppose if I run this program, the PIN is 123. Yes. Okay. Which is a real-time example for this. You may have ever visited the ATM, so you'll come to know that, right? There are many functions are available, publicly available, because they can't restrict every time. But only those can withdraw a money or check a balance who know the ATM pin number properly, right? So there is a behind the concept is nothing but encapsulation. So if you now try to connect that image again, she'll come to know that. So these dotteds are nothing but our data, right? And we are covering into a public functions of that classes. Means we are wrapping data and functions in a class. Private data is not directly accessible outside of the class. If anyone want to access that private data directly, that is get protected. You can't access direct data. But if you want to that data, so you have to go through that functions, and function have some validations, and we need to prove that validation as well. So this is a small and sweet concept of encapsulations. So many time it is get used. So we have to make a use of this function in terms of encapsulation concepts. Okay. If you want to protect your data, so there is a way to protect the data by making that data as a private. But if you want to access that private data outside, so wrap that private data into a public functions. Okay, understood?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Okay, fine. So now